Just press it once. Oh. Isn't it frustrating when you walk into a room but you forget why you were there or what you were going to say? Or maybe you are just about to leave, but all of a sudden you can't find your keys, but you just had them in your hand 30 seconds ago. Or when you're at a grocery store and you're trying to remember what to buy, but you can't remember anything on your list of items to buy. This is very frustrating when you cannot remember such simple things that occurred not too long ago, but when it comes to recalling a childhood memory, you can remember almost everything about it. Why is this? Today I'm going to tell you what a memory is, why certain memories stick, and why certain memories fade. Now, when asked to define a memory, most people think of studying for an exam or remembering where you placed your keys or where you parked. However, memory is an essential part of our everyday lives. We would not be able to function in the present or move forward without relying on our memory. To begin, memory is the faculty by which the mind stores and remembers information. It is a recollection and remembrance of something from the past. It's not working. Yeah, I tried all of them. Okay. So I took a survey asking how many people remembered what they had for lunch a few days ago. Almost 88% of people said that they did not remember. I also asked if people could remember a specific childhood memory, and as you can see, 97% of people said yes. It's so strange not to be able to remember something that had occurred in the past few days, but something that happened years ago is still vividly remembered. Now, memories are stored in the hippocampus of the brain. This is part of the cerebral cortex. This controls functions like thinking, problem solving, and language. For a memory to form, neurons must first go through a long journey to form that memory. Every experience we have is produced by a brain neuron firing in a specific pattern. When it receives a strong stimulus, it sends an impulse to a nearby neuron. This continues and forms links and temporary bonds between the neurons, ultimately creating stronger and stronger bonds. This web of neurons then creates the long-term memory, each cluster representing a different aspect of the whole memory. But for all of this to even begin to happen, it must be first picked up by one of our senses. This is called sensory storage. Now take a look at these two pictures. Sensory storage holds on to information only for about a few seconds. As soon as you looked at these two pictures, they immediately were stored in your visual sensory storage, but they will soon disappear unless you make an active effort to try and remember them. This is why some things erase so quickly from our memory, like where we put our keys or where we parked our car. After an instance is picked up by one of our senses, some memories proceed to the short-term and then even long-term memory. All these stages act almost as a filter to keep certain things in and out of your brain. Short-term memory is the very little time that your mind keeps something in before transferring it or dismissing it to long-term memory. This causes the prefrontal lobe, which is the red highlighted area of the brain, to become active in the brain. Information is then transferred into the long-term memory through the hippocampus. The long-term memory is the brain system for storing, managing, and remembering and retrieving information. It can store facts, ideas, and information even after you stop consciously thinking about them. Long-term memory includes both explicit and implicit memory. Explicit memory requires conscious thought, so it is the information that you continuously work on to remember, such as studying for an exam. Now take a look at these numbers. Just by looking at this slide, you will not be able to retain these numbers in about 30 seconds. This is because your explicit memory is not continuously working to remember these numbers. But if I gave you this list and told you to memorize this list of numbers, given a certain amount of time, your explicit memory would then kick in, and you would try and remember this list. Unlike explicit memory, implicit memory does not require conscious thought. It is the information that you effortlessly retain. This could include instances such as getting a song stuck in your head from listening to it on the radio, or tying your shoe, or learning to ride your bike. Although implicit memories are not consciously recalled, they still influence how you behave as well as your knowledge of different tasks. Many different things can also affect your memory. Memory loss is often associated with aging, but there are a number of things that can trigger short-term and even long-term memory loss, including stress or maybe witnessing a traumatic event. The effects of stress on memory include interference with a person's capacity to encode a memory and their ability to retrieve information. During times of stress, the body can react by secreting stress hormones into the bloodstream. This causes certain changes in the brain, which has an effect on short-term and can cause even long-term damage. In times of stress, it is easier to forget and not recall certain information. According to Benjamin Storm, a researcher from the University of California, he says that although forgetting may seem like a failure in memory, in many instances it is essential for the efficient and adaptive functioning of a memory. In other words, it is natural to forget, and if we didn't forget, we may not be able to retrieve any new information. Your brain is not going to forget, or your brain is going to forget the less important information in order to store room for new and more important memories. This got me back to thinking about these certain memories from everybody's childhood. If it was such a simple thing, why do people still remember these so vividly? These memories must have had an important impact or deeper meaning, an important impact on their life or a deeper meaning behind them that make them so vividly remembered. Now, obviously something like what you had for a meal or where you set your keys is not as important as something like that had an impact on your childhood. Information relating to something that you have a keen interest in is more likely to be stored in your long-term memory. The purpose of your memory is not to record everything, even though it can be frustrating not remembering the simple things. It is a gift that transforms the discrete moments of our lives into an unfolding narrative. Now, I want you to go back and think about that one distinct memory that you have from your childhood. What was the importance or impact that this memory has had on you? Thank you.